All right, let's jump right in. We are about to crack open one of the most ambitious arts of art ever made, Richard Wagner's massive opera cycle, The Ring of the Nibelung. But here's the thing. We're not just going to follow the story. We're going to decode a secret language that's hidden deep inside the music itself.
First, you just have to appreciate the sheer scale of this thing. The Ring cycle isn't one opera. Nope. It's 4 huge music dramas all telling one single story that stretches for more than 16 hours. I mean, that is the very definition of monumental. And, that brings up a pretty big question. How on earth do you hold a story that massive together? How do you make sure your audience can possibly keep track of all the characters, the magical objects, and the really complex ideas across 16+ hours of drama? Well, the answer is absolutely ingenious. Wagner created a system of musical cues, these short, unforgettable little themes that he tied to every single important person, object, and idea in the story. What this does is it creates a whole other narrative, a purely musical one, that guides us through the entire epic. And this technique? He called it the leitmotif. So to really understand Wagner's genius, we first have to get a handle on this incredible tool he developed, the leitmotif. That's the key. It's what unlocks the entire dramatic and emotional world of The Ring.
So what is a leitmotif exactly? Well, think of it like a musical calling card. It's this brief, really distinctive melody or a series of chords. In The Ring, there's a leitmotif for the cursed ring itself, one for the hero Siegfried, one for the god Wotan's spear, and dozens more. They are, quite literally, the musical bricks that Wagner used to build this cathedral of sound.
But for Wagner, these were so much more than just simple labels, like a musical name tag. He saw them as the fundamental building blocks of the music's architecture. This wasn't some gimmick for him. This was the very DNA of his composition. And honestly, this is a concept that we all instinctively get, even if we don't realize it. When you hear Siegfried's heroic horn call in the opera, you know the hero is on his way or someone's thinking about him. It's the exact same principle as John Williams' score for Star Wars. When you hear that ominous, brassy Imperial March, you don't even need to see him to know that Darth Vader just walked into the room. Wagner pioneered this, and it's been a cornerstone of film scoring ever since. Okay, so we get it. Wagner is using these musical themes to help tell the story. But how do the themes themselves get their meaning? Is it just random? Not at all. As it turns out, we can actually decode them. And our key, our secret decoder ring for cracking this code, comes from the work of a brilliant Wagnerian scholar named Derek Cook. This guy dedicated his career to figuring out how music communicates meaning on a deep emotional level. Cook's big idea is really powerful. He argued that for centuries, Western composers have been using specific musical patterns to express specific emotions, either consciously or unconsciously. Music, he said, isn't just a bunch of abstract sounds. It is literally a language, one that's capable of communicating feeling with incredible precision. So how did he do it? Well, Cook broke it all down. He started with the absolute basics, the individual notes of pitch. Then he looked at how musical tensions, the relationships between those notes in pitch, time, and volume, can express feelings. And from all of that, he built a kind of dictionary, identifying a whole vocabulary of basic terms or melodic patterns, each with its own specific emotional meaning. So now, let's use his decoder ring on Wagner's work. Let's start with the big one, the most important object in the entire cycle, the cursed ring of the Nibelung. This thing is the source of all the conflict, all the tragedy. So what does it sound like? Here it is, and yeah, it's not exactly a pretty tune, is it? It's unsettling, it's twisting and dissonant. You hear it and it just feels wrong. And that is completely by design. And this is where Cook's work is just so mind-blowing. He looked at the specific notes in this phrase and found it combines 2 of his basic musical terms. One expresses an outgoing feeling of pain, almost like a cry of sorrow. The other expresses an incoming painful emotion, like having to accept grief. So what does that mean? It means the music itself is describing a never-ending cycle of suffering, giving pain and receiving it. That perfectly captures the ring's curse. It brings misery to everyone who touches it. All right, so now let's see how Wagner builds on this idea with another key leitmotif. This is the theme for the spear, which stands for the power and authority of Wotan, the leader of the gods. And you can hear it right away. This has a totally different vibe. It's strong, it's descending, it sounds like a declaration. It's the sound of law and order. But Listen closely because there's a twist. So the theme starts as this confident, powerful, descending major scale, which Cook connects with authority. But as it goes down, it subtly shifts into a minor key. And according to Cook's dictionary, that musical shape represents an acceptance of grief, passive suffering. So in this one short musical phrase, Wagner tells us Wotan's entire story, a powerful ruler whose authority contains the seeds of his own doom. It's just breathtaking. Finally, let's look at the cycle's great hero, Siegfried. He's this figure of incredible strength, courage, and freedom, but he's also destined for a tragic end. How can music possibly capture all of that at once? Well, this is Siegfried's main theme, and you can immediately hear its complexity. It's got two really distinct parts. One feels like a heroic call to arms, while the other has this deep sense of melancholy underneath it all. And Cook's analysis just nails it. The first half, with its specific minor notes, is what Cook calls a powerful assertion of unhappiness. That's the music hinting at Siegfried's tragic death. But it doesn't end there. Immediately after, the second half of the theme just surges upwards in a pattern Cook defines as courage that acknowledges tragedy and springs onward. His theme literally defines him as a tragic hero, someone who's both doomed and heroic at the exact same time. So, as you can see, Wagner isn't just telling a story with music. He is weaving this incredibly complex web of emotional and psychological meaning. And this was all part of his grand design to create a totally new, completely immersive kind of theater. And this quote from Wagner himself really gets to the heart of it. He was heavily influenced by the philosopher Schopenhauer and came to believe that music could communicate emotion directly, completely bypassing our logical brains. His goal wasn't just to make you understand the story, it was to make you feel its truth. The music is telling you what's really happening in the souls of the characters, turning you into a knower through feeling. The impact of this idea was, well, it was nothing short of revolutionary. After The Ring premiered in 1876, music was never quite the same. And when a brand new art form, cinema, was born, composers immediately saw the power of the leitmotif. From the earliest silent films to the biggest modern blockbusters, it became an essential tool for telling stories with sound. The line from Wagner's Valhalla to A Galaxy Far, Far Away is direct and unbroken. So the next time you're watching a movie or even playing a video game, listen. I mean, really listen. You now have the decoder ring. Pay attention to those repeating musical themes, because underneath all the dialogue and all the action, there's a whole other story being told, a secret language of emotion. And now, you know how to hear it.